Hey, what's up, guys? Dubs here. Welcome to another segment of Dubs Nation. Real quick, please subscribe. More importantly, like and share the video. Like and share other videos. Like it. We have to fight fire with the social media networks and media publications censoring and silencing conservatives. Best thing to do is flood the market with our message. Now, I know 2020 has been crazy, and you don't know what is going to happen from one day to the next. And the media and news cycles have been so short and so jam-packed with fake news and false narratives that it feels like something that has happened 3 months ago is ancient history now. So take a look real quick and see what DC Mayor Muriel Bowser is saying. She goes, "What I'm worried about is this country descending into a race war," Bowser said at a Monday news conference. "And I'm worried about the continued incitement of violence from leadership who should be focused on bringing our communities together. Our police and peaceful protesters will be safer when we come together as a community and tamp down this black versus white rhetoric." Let's be honest now. It's not going to come from any politician stopping this. It's going to come from us. And not just conservatives, not just left-wing liberals either. It's both. It's anybody that has a shred of objectivity left and a shred of integrity left in their bodies. When people say Black Lives Matter, nobody has a problem with the term. Of course, Black Lives Matter. That's the very implication that they don't is insulting to everybody. It's the fact that it came from a false narrative with Michael Brown. His hands were not up. He was not unjustly shot. Furthermore, when we see Black Lives Matter coming out for one incident over here that is terrible, but not incidents like we've seen in Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore with children, innocent children being shot and killed, it makes people with integrity and objectivity raise an eyebrow. These kids over here didn't steal a taser from a cop, try to shoot him in the face with it, and drive drunk and run away and beat cops up. These kids over here didn't sexually assault a woman, cause a domestic incident, fight with police, get tased twice and have it not work, ignore their commands at gunpoint, and then reach for a knife. They didn't do any of that. They were innocent. These guys did. But we see protests, riots for them. The narrative's not true. Black men are not being hunted like that by police. They're not being hunted by white militiamen, which is the new media's favorite term. 95% of all black homicides in the last 30 years have been committed by other black men. Not white, not police. And it's going to take all of us being honest about the situation. Now, if you want to talk about socioeconomic status and its correlation to crime, everybody's all ears. Let's do it. Let's have that conversation about crime. President Trump just had black unemployment down to the lowest point ever. That was real progress. Historically, black colleges funded better than ever before. First Step Act put into place by him. Let's be honest about it. It's not going to come from this crazy rhetoric. And I'll be honest with you, I find it really hard to do segments sometimes when I hear batshit crazy things like this. And I give a lot of credit to the guys that, like, the Shapiros and the Tucker and, everybody that can come up with a good response to this because, well, you'll see.
This president, Donald John Trump, has instigated a race war in America. Portland, Oregon is ground zero. This president, Donald John Trump, has basically stoked the flames for racist extremists, neo-Nazis, and the alt-right. People are calling me asking if there indeed is a way to get the International Crimes Court to come in to deal with this. You know, I've talked to some people who are in intelligence, and they're saying he's done heinous things, but they have to see. We don't know for sure. But people are now afraid of this president because he has stoked the racial flames. And let's call the thing a thing. He has now begun a race war in America in 2020.
What do you say to that? That is so patently absurd and insane that it's tough to garner an actual response to it, because the only thing that anybody can think of is that either she's completely indoctrinated and crazy, or she's doing it on purpose to do that to others. Now, Democrats, like I said in my last video, like to project onto others what they do. They like to claim this is Trump's right or Trump's fault. Portland is ground zero for race war. Portland's the most liberal city in the country. These are Biden voters. These are Biden voters rioting and looting and killing other people, all based on what? Right here.
All over the country, maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face, and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there. Pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Talk about rhetoric? Come on. It's time to be honest. Democrats got hurt so bad when Trump was elected that they will do anything and everything to regain and retain power. Now, what has happened? They've created Frankenstein's monster. They can't control him.
President
Trump. Let me just say real quick that I thought for a long time that fucking Lurch Bill de Blasio was the worst mayor in the country. But I think as of today, this clown beats him. I think it has to be Ted Wheeler.
For 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on black people. We learned early about your sexist attitudes towards women. We've had to endure clips of you mocking a disabled man. We've had to listen to your anti-democratic attacks on journalists. We've read your tweets slamming private citizens to the point of receiving death threats. And now you're attacking Democratic mayors and the very institutions of democracy that have served this nation well since its founding. Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and the division. The tweets that he has been putting out in the last 48 hours, attacking Democratic mayors, attacking those who are trying to bring resolution to the violence in their local communities. He has an opportunity to uplift us and bring us together and help us move through this difficult situation in our nation's history, and instead, he chooses to play petty politics and divide us. That's my reaction. So I'm going to do the work that I need to do here in my local community with my local officials to take accountability for what's happening on our streets. And I'd appreciate that either the president support us or he stay the hell out of the way.
So everything this guy just said was a certifiable lie. It was completely false. Trump didn't make fun of a disabled reporter. The journalists he's attacked are vicious liars and propagandists, and they deserved it. That's confirmed true. That's a confirmed fact. We went through years of Russia and countless lies. And now he's attacking Democratic mayors. He's attacking you because you allowed riots to go on in your city for 3 months. You fool. Nobody with any integrity, like I've said many times before, should be believing this. Look what you are doing. These people will tell you anything they think you want to hear. If Ted Wheeler thinks you will react positively to him yodeling up on the podium, he will do that all day. So you cannot give them any credence when they say things that are just so patently absurd. Trump is not stoking a race war. The violence that hasn't been seen in this year and forever, it started under Obama and Biden in 2014. We were all there. Enough of this shit, because now look what that gives you. Look at the people that creates. This right here. This is a perfect example of the Antifa safe space snowflake loser. Green Bay police say Antifa member with flamethrower cried in fetal position when caught. Does that surprise anybody? No. Well, last night they showed up at his house, at Ted Wheeler's house.
In Portland's Pearl District, police declared a riot as a crowd of more than 200 gathered outside Mayor Ted Wheeler's apartment building. The scene turned violent with people stoking a fire in the street and vandalizing a dental office in the ground floor, which is minority owned. Police deployed crowd control munitions and made 19 arrests. Now, this riot coincided with Mayor Wheeler's birthday, and people in the crowd taunted him, bringing balloons and wearing party hats as they called for him to resign. Those in the crowd aren't the only ones pressuring Wheeler to resign.
Now, these are not Trump supporters calling him for him to resign. These are anarchists. These are the Antifa BLM members. These are even people that are even further to the left than Ted Wheeler himself. They believe Ted Wheeler is too far to the right for them. Now, like in Seattle and Chicago, once the violence and the riots got close enough to the mayor's home, that's when they actually did the work that was needed to be done in order to stop it. Let's see if it holds true here in Portland with Ted Wheeler. Now, you keep doing this, and you wonder why Trump attacks the press. Well, you needn't look no further than CNN's homepage. Like I said, it is just chock full of propaganda and ultra-biased garbage. Okay? Just take a look and peruse through. The last page said Trump attacks journalists. And then over here, it nicely explained why he actually attacked the media and the press. They were going on about his mini strokes, as if they have to misdirect from Biden's clear mental decline. They're just another piece of the Biden campaign. They have been for a long time. They've been a piece of the Democratic Party for a long time. And now all they're doing is just giving him running free interference for them at all times. So they deserve the criticism that they get. And like I said, people giving credence to them puts us in this position that we are in. This is why we have such a stark division. People from the left don't want to admit that they were wrong. You see it from the other side too. Sure, it happens on both sides. But the most absurd claims are coming from the left. Always. They have been for years. So now it's just people don't want to admit that the worldviews that they have had for the past however many years are wrong. So they manipulate and distort, and they believe this nonsense, like Trump is inciting a race war in Portland, Oregon, the most liberal city in America. They believe that kind of stuff. They believe Trump is a Russian spy because they have to. Otherwise, it forces them to challenge their own view. And apparently, they don't have the integrity to do that. So I challenge any liberal that might be watching to please challenge your views, because it's not going to get better unless you do that. Whether it's Trump or Biden or anybody else, the politicians are not going to change the culture. Last but not least, we had Joe Biden weigh in and give his big denouncement of the violence taking place in Portland and other cities around the country. Now, take note, he doesn't actually name the people that are doing the violence. He makes up different groups that aren't actually committing any violence and aren't actually really significant at all. He makes up different ones like right-wing militia groups and white nationalists and white supremacists. I don't know how this all of a sudden turned into that. Is the thought that this is all the riots are being done by right-wing militia groups? This is what I'm saying. We know who's doing it. We see it. They're all Biden voters and Bernie bros.
This is going to get worse and worse before it gets better and better. And the American people deserve to have it straight from the shoulder. Straight from the shoulder. The job of a president is to tell it straight from the shoulder. Tell the truth. To be candid. To face facts. To lead, not to incite. That's why I'm speaking to you today. The incumbent president is incapable of telling us the truth, incapable of facing the facts, and incapable of healing. He doesn't want to shed light. He wants to generate heat, and he's stoking violence in our cities. You know, this is a tragic fact of the matter that about his perilous hour at how he's dealing with this perilous hour in our nation. And now we have to stand against violence in every form it takes. Violence we've seen again and again and again of unwarranted police shooting, excessive force, 7 bullets to the back of Jacob Blake, knee on the neck of George Floyd, killing of Breonna Taylor in her own apartment, violence of extremists and opportunists, right-wing militias, burning and destruction of property.
Now, what does that mean? The first part of this condemnation is trashing the cops. In incidents that were more than likely justified. So what is this guy doing? He's pandering. That's what he's doing.
I want to make it absolutely clear, something very clear about all of this. Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. Setting fires is not protesting. None of this is protesting. It's lawlessness, plain and simple. And those who do it should be prosecuted. Violence will not bring...
Oh, should they really? Is that why your vice president and all your campaign staffers were sending money to have them bailed out? Really?
Bring change. It'll only bring destruction. It's wrong in every way. It divides instead of unites. Destroys businesses, only hurts the working families that serve the community. It makes things...
Where the hell were you 3 months ago, dude? Where were you when they were finding people burned alive inside of these buildings in Minneapolis? Where were you when David Dorn was shot? In your damn basement, you coward.
Things worse across the board, not better. No, it's not what Dr. King or John Lewis taught, and it must end. Fires are burning, and we have a president who fans the flames rather than fighting the flames. But we must not burn. We have to build. This president, long ago, forfeited any moral leadership in this country. He can't stop the violence because for years he's fomented it. You know, he may believe mouthing the words law and order makes him strong, but his failure to call on his own supporters to stop acting as an armed militia in this country shows how weak he is.
What the fuck? His armed supporters? Armed militia? What? Is he really trying to blame Kyle Rittenhouse, who more than likely was defending himself based on all available video evidence that we have right now? Yes, he is. Even though the main problem is with Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioting. This is some condemnation of the riots. He's completely made something else up. And Trump has been trying to stop this from day one. It's recorded. That's confirmed. There's no disputing that. And this guy goes on from there, and it just so happened that he had to give this speech in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't know about you, but I didn't hear of any riots in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Certainly not to the size of Kenosha. Why the hell is he in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Well, he's in Pittsburgh because he's definitely getting some internal information that Pennsylvania is slipping, and it's slipping badly. Why else would he drop in at the very end of this speech that he's not going to ban fracking? Okay. Even though you said you have I said you would 1,000 times, and so did your vice president and everybody else that's associated with you. Let's be honest. Is this the guy that's gonna bring bring healing to the country?
It's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. I mean, think about it. More lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
Okay.
COVID has taken...
And that's on teleprompter. So what is going to heal the country? Because the only thing that he's saying is we got to communicate. Let's communicate. Communicate with the people that just shot somebody for being a Trump supporter. Communicate with the people in the last video I made with as they're beating up people just for wearing a red hat. These people want no more policing. They want destruction of the nuclear family. They want no policing whatsoever. So this is not communication. It's giving in to demands that would destroy the country. So no, I'm sorry. There can't be any kind of communication to that point. The communication is based on a false narrative. That's why I'm saying it's going to be up to us, people that still have some objectivity left. If you're liberal, you better start rethinking your values. You better start rethinking this. Okay? Unless you want to just give away everything that we got. Unless you want to give away the police. It's not going to be a politician that stops it. Because giving in to the terrorist demands is not going to make this all go away. It's going to make it worse. Like I said, everybody is more than happy to have a conversation about socioeconomic status and better schools and, you know, crime versus income disparity correlations and all that. But where the hell is the personal responsibility? There's got to be personal responsibility pushed into it as well. Somebody that had just raped a woman with their kids in the car outside, taking her keys, fights with the police, and refuses to comply with them after that while he's at gunpoint, and then reaches for a knife, made poor personal choices. He wasn't killed because of the color of his skin. And that's the case for many of these situations. Thanks for sticking around for this one, guys. I'll see you later.